Would you like to live your best life possible, regardless of your imperfections? Discover cutting-edge tools and inspiration to let go of your limitations and expand your life beyond what you've ever imagined. On Imperfect, Brilliance, we help you tap into your unique gifts and talents, uncovering and letting your brilliance shine. Join certified facilitator and coach Betsy McLoughlin as she delves into different areas of your life to get unstuck and create the life that is truly possible for you. Betsy has changed her life by utilizing the tools and techniques she is sharing with you. What if your willingness to acknowledge your brilliance is the catalyst to creating a new reality? When you stop judging you, what else can you create in your life and in the world? Join Betsy live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern to create magical and joyous possibilities for an hour of laughs, questions, tips, and more. We are excited to contribute and play with you.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Imperfect Brilliance. So happy you're here. And I have the pleasure of having Rachel Silber on the show with us today. So I'm going to start talking about Rachel first, switch it up a little bit, and then I'll tell you guys what we're talking about today. So who is Rachel?
I wonder that every day.
Who are you today? And I love some of the things that she gave me for her bio. So I'm going to read that for you guys. And it says, Rachel Silber is a wanderer, a fa-silly-tator, spelled F-A-S-I-L-L-Y-T-A-T-O-R, like tater tots, a facilitator. I love that so much.
We take ourselves too damn seriously all the time.
Right?
Fun to play.
Yes. And, just a caveat warning here, if you don't want to laugh and have fun, then, you should just not listen to this show today, because I'm sure we will have no fun and we definitely will not be laughing.
No, we're just gonna be miserable for an hour. Because isn't that what life and living is about?
Oh,
isn't that like the whole purpose of being here is to buy all the trauma and the drama and it's terrible and it's horrible and we never get out alive?
Well, I did that for a very long time. I really did, and I'm so glad that I don't have that point of view anymore. So anyhow, I took us down a little bit of a side road. We'll come back to the main road for a moment and finish telling you guys about Rachel. So you can see she's fun and she's silly. She's also, she's a facilitator of possibilities. She's a speaker and author. She is a change maker. She's a friend. She's a wife. She's a mom, and way, way more. She has been also facilitating with the Access Consciousness tool since 2011. And she's grateful for every moment with the weird and wacky tools that we love to talk about on this show. And really, truly, right, everything can change when we're ready to see what is and ask for what we would like. So Rachel's website, if you would like to find out more about her, is www, and I'm going to spell out the letters for you. It is UBJoy, and it's literally the letter U, the letter B, and joy.com. How fun is that? I love that website. What an invitation for joy and happiness. And Rachel, what is your email address if anybody would like to email you?
What?
What is your email address if anyone would like to email you?
To email me, it's very easy as well. Rachel at Silber's. So like my last name, but there's a whole bunch of us in the family. So Rachel at silbers.com. And that can come to me with ease.
And if you would spell that, please, because people do spell Rachel different ways.
That is true. Good point. I was just assuming it would need to spell my last name, but no. So it's Rachel, like the most simplified version of Rachel that you could find, Rachel, and it's at Silber's, so S as in Sam, I-L, B as in boy, E-R-S, because there's a whole bunch of us, .com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So that's a little taste of who Rachel is. And what we're going to be talking about today is you're never alone. Though it might seem like that at first glance. And when we look deeper, we look around, we look beneath, and we start to realize that there are magical molecules with the whole world filled with palpable playmates and miracles waiting to be noticed. The universe has our back, and that I'm so excited about this conversation. And one of the questions that Rachel wrote me is, what if your willingness to receive all of it is one of the most brilliant gifts that you be? I love that. Thank you so much. And then the other thing that Rachel messaged me was, even when you are supposed to keep your distance from others and listen to everyone else's expertise, while dismissing what you know, what if even in that, what if you begin to listen within and to the whispers of the universe?
Yeah.
So that is what we're going to be talking about today, you guys. And Rachel, for you,
tiny subject.
Yeah,
just a little.
And for you, when you started to realize that, because there has definitely been times where I have felt very alone, very isolated, very separated. And so what for you, did you ever feel like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like most of my teens to probably, till about access, really. I went through severe depression. I was medicated. I was injected. I would get injected with lithium when I was in college because I was diagnosed as bipolar. I never saw anything as having my back. I actually saw myself more as kind of excluded, on the sidelines, separate, that nothing had my back, much less myself, and definitely not the universe. So it's a really different way of living. And it's almost this like underlying supposition, this assumption that I'm all alone, right? And if we function from that as being the truth for us in that moment, then everything that we look at has to relate back to that belief that we're all alone. And that not only are we not alone, but we're definitely not worthy of having anything interact with us or contribute to us. And if that's the basis of everything in your life, how much fun can you have? And one of the big things in access, and I know you've spoken about it on the show multiple times, is whatever is true for you. It may be different for each person, but whatever is true for you will make you feel lighter. So if something doesn't make you feel light, it's not true for you. And when I spent those 20 some odd years in that angst, really, and this feeling all alone, and this feeling isolated from everyone and everything, I didn't feel lighter. I actually felt far more contracted. I had far more difficulty holding on to anything, being able to receive from anything. There was no way. It just wasn't happening. And it's just a point of view. And something Dr. Dane here, who's one of the co-creators of Access Consciousness, he says your point of view creates your reality. So if your point of view is that you're all alone, you can't see where the universe may be whispering. You can't see where a friend might ring you up and say, hey, you want to go out for a cup of coffee, or, I'd like to talk to you even, or whatever the case is. You can't receive anything different because it doesn't match that point of view that you have, that you are all alone. And if we have a point of view that life is terrible and horrible and we never get out alive even, right? How much fun is that in our life and living? How much do we have to lock our bodies up? How much suffering and destruction do we impose on ourselves, impel on our bodies and in everything in our life, right? By holding on to this point of view that we're all alone and we're not worthy and we can't receive and we definitely can't have ease and all of that stuff. We miss the magic by holding on to that point of view.
So I love how you just described all of this, and it's, you know, like the visual that I was getting was when they put blinders on a horse, so the horse can't see right out of the side, they can only literally see in front of them. So when you have that kind of point of view, I wonder, like, how big are the blinders that we put on ourselves so that we can't either see or hear or perceive all the things that would like, all the things, the people, the places that would like to contribute to you and what you would enjoy creating.
Yeah. And we just have one point of view, which is a lie of a limitation, a lie of undeservedness, unworthiness, or a lie of separation. And it isn't true. And yet we keep perpetrating that on ourselves and literally rejecting and refusing, and almost like, you know, those monkeys that hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, and then you get the little kid that sticks a finger in the ears, closes their eyes, and just goes la 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 to block out everything, scary movie or parents telling them what to do or whatever. That kind of thing. We're doing that constantly. We're being these funny little, you know, toddlers with the universe, going, no, I can't see you. It can't be true. Can't see you, can't hear you, blah, 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 block me out. And that doesn't make it so much fun for us.
Goodness gracious. So when we're blocking all of these possibilities out, you know, part of the description was the universe is patiently waiting to contribute to you and to play with you. So, you just described a child who's going, blah, 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 I'm not listening. And what can we do when we are, you know, sticking our fingers in our ears and refusing to listen, and the universe is waiting for us? What can we do to start listening, playing, exploring what we could do with the universe?
Well, the first thing I would do is actually just say, okay, what if that point of view that I'd been holding on to isn't true? What if I'd flip it on its head? If everything is a choice and everything is a point of view, what if I could just flip that on its head and go, okay, what if everything that's occurring around me is here to contribute to me? What if every interaction is here for more ease and more laughter and more joy and more wonder? And it's this willingness to choose. We had a conversation today. We spoke with you yesterday on the conversations on being. Helen and I had a great time with you.
Thank you.
That was a lot of fun. Anyone who hasn't seen it, it is on Facebook. You're welcome to find it in the, I think it's called the Adventure of Being You page or something like that.
Yeah.
And today we had a conversation with another Being You certified facilitator, Aradhana Tiwari, and she said, I ask every day, what else can I have sex with? How much more sex can I add to my day? And this isn't sex copulation the way we know it in regular speak. In access speak, sex is about receiving, but automatically when we say the word sex, there's this naughty twinkle to our eye. There's this willingness to smile. And it's this invitation to receive with everything. So how much more, some people say, oh, fun, that's just immature. I'm not willing to play and have fun. Give me some serious work here. But whenever we say sex, there's this like, whoa, kind of energy that's available. If everything is available for us to have sex with, the breeze that caresses our skin, the the lights as they twinkle and they come on. I have a view of part of the city, and you can see the lights beginning to twinkle, when it gets to be like a certain hour, dusk time.
Yes.
What is that?
Yes.
Isn't it beautiful? To me, it's like little fireflies coming up and saying, or fairies, saying, hi, look at me, fairies lighting up your world. And it's beautiful. And even when the weather's rainy, it is so beautiful to receive from the raindrops. And when it's sunny, it's so beautiful to receive the warmth of the sun and the heat and the crunching of grass beneath our feet. There's just so much around us that's willing to contribute if we're willing to receive it.
That's so true. And so if you're looking at this for yourself and you're wondering, well, am I willing to receive? What kind of questions, because we love to ask questions on this show, what kind of questions, right, would you ask to explore that for yourself, Rachel?
Wow. Well, so what if the universe is ever expanding and it's amazingly playful and it's miraculous and it's joyful and it's just this space of literally bubbling, quiet, subtle possibilities, but it's all there. So what could I notice today that I hadn't been willing to notice before? And what could I ask for today that I hadn't been willing to ask for before? And if I would stop taking everything literally and making things as reasonable as possible, how much more irrational joy could I have in choosing what I'd like to have? What would happen in the whole world if I were willing to ask for more? Because what if my knowing that the universe is an abundant place and a joyful place and a place that's got my back, if I know that, because I've flipped the not knowing of it on its head, so if I trust that it's got my back, then what questions I be can then open up the world for other people to have more as well. So like my asking for more, my trusting the universe actually opens up the universe to everybody else, which makes it even more of a playground.
I love that. So you asking questions opens up possibilities for yourself and everyone around you. How fun.
Without even realizing. Yeah.
So true.
It's not even so cognitive because, when you see that somebody is enjoying something, is having something, is asking for something, you can have that too.
Absolutely. Stay tuned, you guys, for more pearls on the conversation of You Are Not Alone. Imperfect Brilliance. We'll be back.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM-FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at OMTimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Are you looking to change anything in your life? To have an even greater appreciation of everything around you? Would you enjoy having a life of more joy and greater abundance? and explore what is possible for you? My name is Betsy McLoughlin, and I invite you to explore simple and pragmatic tools that I share on my radio show, Imperfect, Brilliance. I know firsthand that you can change anything. We explore tools and questions with amazing guests, offering all kinds of conversations on living your best life. I invite you to listen in Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern to Imperfect Brilliance. Consider a coaching call with me and let's explore what you would like your life to be like. Visit my website at www.creatingyumminess.com and you're invited to call in to Imperfect Brilliance with your questions Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. I look forward to connecting.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, everybody. Are you enjoying this conversation about you're not alone? And when you're feeling like that, we're talking about some tips and tricks and questions and things you could do to have yourself realize that you are not alone, no matter what you've told yourself. So I know for me, I definitely have bought that. I've definitely played that card many times in my own life, in the deck of cards of my life. And it's like, you know what? I'm really tired of playing this game. And I'm gonna play a different game. And that's one of the really fun, amazing things when you realize too that you actually do have a choice, and that everywhere you think you are so stuck that you can't change it, that and everywhere that you are telling yourself, you can't. What could you change so that you could, you would, you do?
Yeah. So what do you do when you get in like a mucky, yucky, something's going on in your world? What is it that you do, Betsy?
Wow. Well, I'm so fortunate to have all these amazing, just plethora of things that I can choose from and play with. So, imagine a treasure chest and you open it and it's filled, like in the movies, right? They're usually either filled with gold coins or they're filled with pearls and diamonds and rubies and emeralds, and then you're just like, oh my gosh. Well, to me, that is what all of these things that I have explored and played with for the past, it's about 8 years now, that have come, that is to me at priceless and just as valuable as that huge treasure chest filled with gems and coins is. Because it truly, right? It truly, literally, figuratively, every way possible has changed my life from this, depressed, just oppressed person who was like, what the frick is the point of living? I don't want to be here. If things don't change, I really think I might just kill myself kind of point of view, and where I was living to now it's like, oh my God, I feel like a kid in a candy store. It's like, oh my God, what next? More. Yes, please. So with that, there are so many possibilities, and every day I pull from this treasure chest. And it's not to say that every moment of my day is sunshine and roses and everything. Yes, I have challenges, and I am so happy that when I do, that I can go to the treasure chest and say, or I can pick up the phone and call somebody who has these amazing tools or questions. And even when I'm in that crunchy, funky place where I can go, I'm just in a crunchy, funky place right now. And it's like, oh, okay. And for me, there's even something about saying the words out loud and then like, okay, so I can choose to stay there, or I can choose to ask some questions and see what might shift. With truly, there's no expectation, because some questions, sometimes I might hit a home run out of the ballpark, and there might be other times where like I've struck out and like, well, okay, that didn't really change anything. So, and then I just keep asking questions. So the thing about questions, it's an algorithm interrupt, and so it stops that vicious cycle that I used to live in 24/7, every freaking moment of every day, where my life sucked. Blah, 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 blah. So asking the questions has shifted me and gotten me out of the hamster wheel of my life sucks to, oh my gosh, there might be another possibility, and I can actually jump off this hamster wheel that I've thought that I was chained to, that I had no choice. So I know that was kind of a long answer. Did that?
No, but it is absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant because, first of all, I love the metaphor of the treasure chest. And there's another element to that, because, the treasure chest, you can go to any time. These tools that you've had in the treasure chest, that you can pick out the thing that even may not be like maybe even the first tool that you would cognitively think would be the tool that you would use. It happens to be a different tool that you pick up on, but that also kind of goes in and shifts things in a different kind of way. But what's interesting is that you become the treasure chest. You be those tools walking. And that's the thing that, more than anything else, it isn't the value of, the sparkles and the gems and the, kind of the pirate's treasure that somebody can come and take away. When you be these tools, when you're so empowered that you can just go, okay, this has been the tape playing in my head for those who know what tapes are. Right. In the olden days, we had tapes that we would record on, and you would have these things kind of playing in your head, and there'd be this autopilot almost button where that voice would come in again, and you'd hear it and hear it and hear it. And when you be these tools, when you include these tools so much in your life, everything shifts and changes, and you be that treasure chest walking. So things don't affect you in the same way. And like the mantra of access, which is another one of these pearls of wisdom inside the treasure chest, is all of life comes with ease, joy, and glory. So even if I thought I was terrible and horrible and whatever, if everything comes with ease, joy, and glory, then even that thought can come through, can, swirl around a bit and can keep moving. And I can trust that it keeps moving, like the clouds in the sky or anything else. It'll keep moving as long as I recognize that I'm beyond that thought or that feeling or that emotion or that pattern or that old tape. And when you be that, oh my God, Betsy, when you be those tools, everything changes around you. And no, you're not alone, because how can you be alone as an infinite being? Just after the break, when we had the break, there was a commercial about Alone Together. Honestly, I'm outside of the U.S., so I don't get to hear all those things very regularly. It was the first time I'd heard the message of Alone Together. It's just so strange to me. It's like, really? Alone together? What is that? What if there's just no alone? If we're all infinite, we're all part of that's around us, part of this beautiful, amazing universe, there is an impossibility in being alone. Everything is so intertwined and interconnected.
Yeah.
If we're willing to actually play with that and hear it and trust ourselves. And I'd love to read something out loud that I'd found. I shared it actually on my Rachel Silber Joy of Being page. I had it in my memories from like 4 years ago or something, and it popped up. Thank Facebook for the little reminders.
It's so funny how we get those. Yep.
I know, and sometimes we're like, did I write that? Or, where did that come from? That is so cool. But this time it was from one of the old workbooks, or I don't think this is in the How to Become Money workbook. I'm not sure where it came from, but it was something that came through, inspiration from Raz. So what was in the manual there, or in the workbook, I can't remember where it came from because I didn't actually notice, but it said, everything is a choice. Everything is infinite possibility. Everything is the question. Nothing is the answer. Be you and change the world. Be not you and suffer the world. Truth is your sword. Choice is your creation. Being in the destruction of all limitations to be you. Being is the destruction of all limitation to be you. You are the gift, and as you be the gift, you shall receive. So as you be, you shall receive. It's a different reality. So be it, claim, own, decide, create it. Live not in the effect of life, but as the source of it. Know you as the greatness, perceive you as the greatness, be you as the greatness, and receive you as the greatness, because that is the truth. And there's such a spaciousness in that. Yeah, it's so beautiful. And to me, how often have we been told, since the time we were teeny weeny up to now, you're a greatness walking, you're a miracle walking, you can choose anything, you can be anything, the world is filled with possibilities. Most people don't speak that way.
No.
And yet we have a choice to embody that and encompass that and play with that. And even just a teeny tiny bit, even 1%, just consider that could be possible. And if that could be possible, what if we could begin to include that in our life?
What if? What if? I love that question. And so what other questions could you ask to include way more of that deliciousness in your life?
Well, one of the things that I would do is actually not necessarily even a question, but it is a question. It's kind of like this being a question rather than verbalizing into words a question.
Okay.
But what if we would lower barriers? And by barriers, I mean all those points of view that we have about the world, all the points of view that we have about ourselves, all the stories, everything, all the decisions and the judgments and any other crap that we've been walking around pretending to be, rather than being the space of us and the space of possibilities. Lower the barriers, lower the barriers, lower the barriers, and actually allow ourselves to expand. So it's as if, wow, I just got this really cool visual. So it's like we're these beings of light, and we're not really in our bodies, but our bodies are kind of dancing within the space that we be. But when we let go of the formality of the pretense of trying to be limited, because, everybody else around here is so limited, what if we could just let that go? And then the light begins to spread, and touch on everything, touch on the leaves of the trees and the plants on the patio and on the kitty cat that may be sitting next to you. It just kind of touches on everything. And that's your energy intermingling out with the world, with the universe, with everything that's around you. And what if we begin to invite the universe and say, hey, universe, show me, what is it like to not be alone? What is it like to receive? What is it like to contribute? What is it like to listen to the whispers? Show me, universe. What else can I contribute? What else can I be? And begin to allow.
I love that so much, Rachel, because that gets you out of your head where you have to, like, if you're trying to figure out, like, what's the right way to do it, or I have no idea how to do it. And you, in doing that, you're asking, just show me what that is in every moment of every day. And it gets you out of that feeling like you have to get it right or you don't know what to do. So you just kind of sit there, right? And so they just show me what it is. Because this, like you said earlier, this is not a conversation that most people have, you know, with their families, with their school, with their teachers, you know. So it's like, so here, you know, we're talking about this stuff and it's like, but it's foreign for most of us. And that doesn't mean we can't learn it. We can't discover it and experiment. Willingness. Right, exactly, that experiment, because we don't know. Like, and I know there's still lots and lots of things that I am discovering and exploring and go, oh, wow, look at that. Oh, isn't that neat? And isn't that cool? Isn't that fun? And, you know, from that playful experimental energy of like, I have no idea, and just be willing to be delighted by all of it.
I love that. I love that choice of words, willing to be delighted. Just, and that is truly creating yumminess, like your website, you know. When you're willing to be delighted, you're allowing all the, you know, the flavors and the textures and the colors and everything. It becomes this like technicolor world that you live in, willing to receive from everything. Or as Aradhana was saying, you know, earlier today, have sex with everything. Just literally, oh, I wonder what you'd be like. Oh, I wonder what you'd. And you're literally living in this world of wonder. And living in a world of wonder is so much more magical than living in a conclusion of, no, this can't be, and this is foreign, and it must be for everyone else, and it can't be for me. I'm living and walking proof of, I went from the deepest, darkest, going to throw myself off the ledge of the world, so to speak, and you know, I'm taking up too much airspace here, to, wow, what a gift it is to be alive, and what a gift it is to look out and see everything. I mean, it looked like there was a storm brewing in the horizon, and we've got a wasp nest, and I'm allergic to bee stings, right, to insect stings in general, but especially bees, wasps, whatever. You'd think, ooh, if a person's allergic, they better have their EpiPen handy and whatever. But I spoke to these guys, and they're maybe like 4 feet away from me. And they're just here to contribute and to play and not to hurt in any way. But it's so interesting to watch and receive.
Awesome. Second break, you all. Stay tuned for more yumminess with Rachel Silber and myself, Betsy McLoughlin. We'll be back shortly.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hello, I'm I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers, pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
I'm so enjoying this conversation today with Rachel Silber. And at the beginning of the show, we did give Rachel's contact information. And if you guys are looking for me, Rachel did mention a little earlier, creatingyumminess.com is my website. You can email me at accessbetsy@gmail.com. And we both have profiles on the Access Consciousness website as well. And we teach classes online and around the world. And Rachel and her friend Helen have done a series. They're doing a series of conversations, which are on Facebook, all about with a different Being You facilitator, all around just different conversations about being you. And so those are a lot of fun. And you can check those out at the Adventures of Being You website, Facebook page. And, there's so much delicious, yummy stuff available, you guys, through Facebook and YouTube and just all kinds of different resources available. And we're happy to have more conversations with you guys as well. And today we are talking about you're never alone. And even if you might think that you are or feel like you are, I wonder, what exercise. So you had talked a little earlier, Rachel, about lowering your barriers. And I would like to dive in a little bit more to that. So if somebody isn't familiar with what that means, would you do a little bit more explanation on, well, what do you mean by lowering my barriers? I don't have any barriers up, or I don't know what it is, or I don't know how to do it.
Well, it's fantastic that you just said that, because all you have to do is ask. You don't even have to know. You just have to ask. So every time we tend to go into the how, and I was very much, one of these how, you got to show me how, I got to figure it out, I got to do it the right way, because if I don't, it's not going to work, and I'm going to screw up the planet, and, like that. But it isn't actually
she had no drama in her life at all.
No.
I'm going to blow up the planet if I don't do it right. That was great.
Thank you. But that's the thing. We think that, if I don't get it exactly right, it's going to be the end of the world. Mm-hmm. And the invitation is actually to just ask. Like you were saying, I ask questions and it changes my energy and it takes me out of being stuck and it changes everything. Well, what if we just begin to trust that that's the case? And we ask, hey, universe, show me, what is it like to be without my barriers? Being without your barriers is being undefended. So a lot of people, especially in the metaphysical realm, would say you have to defend yourself. I used to have a a teacher of like Kabbalah and angelic names and, whatever other energies that you're doing, and crystals and angels and all sorts of stuff, pre-access days. And she's like, you have to get black tourmalines and put them in the corners of your house, and you have to take these symbols for protection and put them up everywhere. But what if you are an infinite being? And there's nothing that can keep you, in like one, first of all, in one contained, confined space. You're an infinite being. You're beyond all of that confinement. That's one thing. And secondly, if you're an infinite being, can anything actually hurt you? So this whole thing about having to be defended and having to hold on to things and having to separate from people in order to protect yourself somehow is a fallacy. And a lot of the barriers and the defenses and the, all these walls that we put up between us and everybody else, between us and ourselves, all we manage to do is create this distance from us and from everything that's trying to give to us. We're not accomplishing much more than that. So it's not on our behalf. It's not creating greater for us to have those barriers and barricades up. And all of those barriers and barricades are those points of views, are those energies. I mean, physically, I don't have a wall built in front of me. I don't look like Rapunzel's tower walking on two legs through the world. But I may act like that, or energetically that may be the energy. So all I have to do is just ask, trust and ask. Hey, I'd like to lower my barriers. And if I begin to feel that they're coming up somehow, that I'm, oh my God, I have to protect myself somehow, push them down again. And you just literally ask, barriers down, barriers down, barriers down. And they go down. And just begin to notice, what is it like when my barriers are down? And what is it like when I'm defending from the entire world? What is it like when I'm waiting for a piano to fall on my head? And what is it like when I'm open?
Well, I like that question a lot, and then that goes back to like the, universe show me. So what is it like when my barriers are up? And what is it like when my barriers are down? And, and it can be very uncomfortable because it's not something we're used to doing. We're used to having a lot of barriers up, a lot of walls up, and then, I will use myself as the prime example of it. I had a lot of those things up, and then it'd be like, how come I feel like I'm not connected to anybody? How come I can't feel close to this person? How come, I had all these how comes, and then I would either go to the wrongness of me or the wrongness of them, or just like, so I created so much separation, not realizing that I was doing it. And, so in that, it's definitely one of the things that we talk about is everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. And nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. And so, your natural inclination in a lot of situations is to, put those barriers up and protect yourself. And what if it actually is the opposite? What if when somebody's coming, like, let's say somebody's mad at you. Well, normally you're erecting all these walls and barriers to protect yourself. Well, what if actually, if you do the opposite and you lower your barriers, because, it's like, oops, here go my barriers, let me lower them. And what if that is actually an invitation for something different? My husband and I, like, we used to go in this round and round and round, like, fighting thing. We had, like, a cycle every few months, and I could just predict it, like, knowing that he was going to drink coffee in the morning. I could predict when we got into that cycle what was going to happen. And we were both, like, playing this role. And then it was like one time I was like, you know what? And I didn't have all the tools. This was before all these tools that we talk about. But it was like, you know what? Could we do something different here? And I had to be willing to do something different. I had to be willing to, instead of retreating to my corner and lobbing, everything that all my bombs at him, and then ducking when he lobbed them at me, it was like, okay, do something different, because this isn't fun. This isn't working. We're both miserable, and something truly has to change here. And I felt very, very alone and very separate from him. And it was like, kind of like, what's the point of being married if this is what we're creating? I was like, so anyhow, with the willingness for me to choose something different and say, let's do something different, that's when, that's part of lowering your barriers and saying, okay, the willingness to look at it, the willingness to shine a light maybe on something that isn't so comfortable to look at, and say, okay, let's do, and in that let's do something different, it opened up conversations that we had never had before, because neither one of us were willing to. We were both like so invested in our point of view, which you had talked about earlier, and that we had made it.
But you're
so solid.
Yeah, but now you're choosing something different, something you were not familiar with before.
Right.
And now you're saying, okay, I'm willing to take a step, just even 1% out of this. It didn't feel so yummy and felt very disconnected to what else is available. And just consider that.
Right. And I certainly didn't have any of the answers or anything. I just knew that something had to give, or, our marriage was done, so that was, and, I'm so grateful that we were able to make changes and choices, and that we have, such an easy relationship now. And I look at that time and just be like, wow, we don't do that anymore. And, okay, so we did it and now we don't. But it was that willingness to have no idea, right, and kind of jump off the deep end blindfolded and be like, okay, and trusting that it was all going to be okay. So could you talk a little bit about the trusting piece?
Yeah. The first thing for me would be trusting in myself, that I know something more than I may be familiar with right now. And then trusting in the universe, and trusting that I could ask a question like, hey, universe, can you show me what else is possible here? What else is available here? How much more ease can I have? What other possibilities could I see that I haven't been willing to see? See, we don't have to figure out the answer or figure out the how-to. Every time we go to figuring, we're diminishing everything. But like that treasure chest that you've spoken about before, that's like the universe. And all you got to do is ask, and it comes towards you. It will come to you and gift you what you're asking for if you're actually willing to ask. So show me how I'm not alone, universe. Show me what's willing to contribute to me. Show me how this can change. Show me what else is available. And everything begins to unfold. And all you got to do is just ask. I mean, literally, like, what's next? Ask. And know that things are constantly changing. Everything is changing and shifting. We're not one particular mood or one particular thought. Well, we're not thoughts anyway. They just happen to, we may be thought factories, and we may be, antennas picking up on everybody's thoughts, feelings, emotions, etc. But we are not those things, even though we may, quote unquote, think that we are. So what else is available when we're willing to say, okay, that's what I've been till now, and now what? Now what? Now what's available? Now what can I choose?
And that's such a great question, that now what?
Yeah. It's not super complicated either. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? You fall down, you get up, you dust yourself off, and you choose again, you ask again, you keep going. Another step, and there's always another day, and every day looks different. So just keep taking another step. You're never, ever alone, no matter what it may look like at the moment.
Yes. And, you can always reach out to a friend, ask the universe to show you how you're not alone when you're feeling alone. Yeah. There's so many, we've talked many times on the show, even about what's called the access bars, and that is a great way, right, to a wonderful body process that actually I'm going to let you explain it. I'd like to hear your take on what the access bars are.
For me, they're heaven on earth. Somebody touches gently, really gently, these points on your head that relate to different topics, different thoughts, feelings, considerations that you have just happen to just dissipate. They just kind of go out so that you, after about an hour, hour and a half, and my amazing dream would be to have my bars run for like 8 hours. That would be so amazing. You have this space in your head and this relaxation in your body and your being and this softening in your world where you really don't have so many dukes up and you are more vulnerable and present and joyful. And it is a gift beyond words.
It truly is. And thank you so much, Rachel, for your joy and laughter on the show today. What a pleasure. And thank you guys all for listening.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Take care, everyone.
Bye. Bye.